nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio Soccer Roundtable tonight. We've been flipping between that and the Fancast. Joining me tonight, we're going to start with Steve, Rafa, and then I'll have Rafa introduce our guest tonight since he spoke with her and set this up here. So, Steve, welcome to the high school show. First time this season. You've been on the bracketology, year 3?
Yeah, this would be the year 3 for me on bracketology. So, thanks for having me. Yeah, this is my first time this year with the SA Soccer Roundtable. I think I did one episode so far with Hector over 50-50. On the 50-50. Yeah, so glad to be a part of both podcasts and of course
Well, I'm glad you started with the JV side with the 50-50 and now you're with the varsity side here.
You'll push me up. You'll move me up to varsity, right?
Rob, how are you? I see you're wearing your Draw Madrid shirt, so hopefully you're having a good evening.
The Intercontinental Champions, yeah. So another trophy. Hopefully we'll get the La Liga once everybody gets healthy again. So, hey, Ancelotti, what can you say about him? He's got the record now for the trophy. So congrats to him.
And who's the guest, Rafa?
So we have a special guest today, Coach Giselle Vela from Harlan High School. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Glad to have you on here today. Talk some Harlan Hawks.
Yeah, let's do it.
So sorry, some difficulties here with my internet. Okay, I'm back on.
You're good now.
So,
yeah.
Okay. So just a quick background on you, just to introduce yourself to our, like I said, to the round table, just to get to know you, and then we'll ask questions afterwards about the program and the upcoming season.
Sure. Well, as Rafa said, my name is Giselle Vela. I'm a San Antonio native. I've lived in and around San Antonio all my life. Played a little bit of ball at Judson High School back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Played club since I was about 8-9 years old. Kind of got thrown into the mix. I actually come from a softball baseball family. And I beat to my own drum a lot of times. So I was the kid that got to see my older cousins play and my family get escorted out of a lot of baseball stadiums growing up. And I was like, that's not what I want. I want, if my family's going to come, I want them to come and enjoy it. And so I had a childhood friend of mine, her dad, we went to a little private school in Converse, Texas, and he, kind of saw me out playing in the schoolyard one day and was like, hey, why don't you come try soccer? And I was like, okay, why not? I was naive, little 8-year-old, wanted to play with my friends. And so my grassroots days start back at the Gracia Fields over at Randolph Air Force Base. And that's all she wrote from there. So I was fortunate to play, varsity with 4 of my best childhood friends growing up. We all played club together, won a couple of state titles with an independent club team. And I've carried it out all the way through. This is my 17th year in the high school setting, both teaching and coaching. Much to a lot of people's surprise, this is actually not my first year as a head coach. This is my 13th year. I started off at Highlands High School back in 2008, worked under Liz Sandoval. Got some good stuff from her and Hector. I played a little bit of it for her and Hector growing up and as guest players and whatnot. And so that was kind of a full circle moment for me there. And Then had the pleasure of opening up Veterans Memorial High School out in Judson ISD back in 2016 when they opened up. And, the following year, Shay Huntington opened up Harlan High School, who was actually my high school coach. And so a few years ago, she gave me a call and said, "Hey, it's about time for me to hang up my whistle." And I was like, "No, we're not there yet." But I mean, lo and behold, Lord works in mysterious ways. And she kept kind of hounding me throughout that year. She's like, give it some thought. I'd really love to come have you be my coach. Lori Lee was going to be stepping down to pursue her education and move on from teaching and make some real money. And so I was like, you know what, I'll come in for a talk. Let's chat. Let me check out the campus. Let me check out the community. I'd only been out to Harlan a couple of times at a scrimmage, and I was in a big yellow dog. It's not a fun drive. It's, going 55. It's a good hour and 15 minutes. But the moment I walked into Harlan High School, you get this feeling. I mean, it just wraps you up and it doesn't let go. So I kind of right then and there knew, I was like, you know what, this is going to be my next home. And so I took a step down and got to work under Shay the last 2 years at Harlan, and she got a big promotion as one of our new APs this year. And so I got promoted to head coach back in July, and here we are.
So congratulations, Coach, on the promotion.
Thank
there.
you.
And so how does it feel like now that you're in charge there at Harlan High School? So like, what's your vision, going into this coming season?
There hasn't been much to change. Shay and I worked so well together. We're kind of left brain, right brain kind of puzzle piece a lot of the times. And so, growing up under her system as a young coach, back in her early 20s, and me kind of moving in and knowing her system, knowing, what she likes. And it was an easy transition, I think, for us and the kids. It was a little, I'm very passionate. I don't hide that at all. I'm very forthcoming with that with the kids and the parents and the community. And, the kids just see me going at it. And so they've followed suit. So in that sense, it really was a pretty smooth transition coming in. They already knew who I was. I'm a teacher on campus. I'm as involved in everything I do. I don't just coach soccer. I got a couple of other hats that I wear around the school. And so, we kind of had a little forum back in the summertime before we got started with the school year. I said, look, what do you want to see? What do you like? What do you not like? What do you want to change? What do you want to, let's talk. And we've got a big senior class this year. And so I'd like to give my seniors as much of a responsibility as what I have, to the extent. And this should be the most enjoyable year. And so we really laid all the details. And I said, look, if I can make it happen, let's make it happen. There's some things that we'll have to kind of wait and see. And they've just run with it. So it was pretty easy, just kind of stepping in. It really just is a title change. I just got to remove the assistant part from my email signature, really.
Yeah. So going into, like I said, this season, like I said, the players, when they heard the announcement that you were going to take over, how did they feel about that when you taking over?
We had a Coach Salas and Coach Gonzalez kind of did a whole thing, and we invited in the community to come in and do it. So we had quite a bit showing, and it was exciting. The expressions on their faces, the smiles, and I think the familiarity was comforting. And like I said, I think the smartest thing we could have done is had me come in when I did, and I was able to work with a lot of these kids. And like I said, the senior class, they were sophomores when I came in, and so I think a lot of it was just like, it was familiar, but it was also exciting, because they know what I'm about, and they know how passionate I am, and how much, I love. I'm not afraid of a little elbow grease. And so I think it was a little refreshing, but also kind of a whew, we're good. We don't have to change too much. We don't have to expect too many changes and develop a whole new sense of routine. So it was nice. It was a breath of fresh air.
So looking going into 2025, like I said, I was there a couple Fridays ago to watch your first scrimmage against Southwest. I don't know, we talked to a little bit. But for the people out there, how'd you feel after that first scrimmage? Because when I was watching the game, like I said, I've seen Harlan in the past, and I saw, and I've told Steve, and I've told Harry, hey, this is a team to keep an eye out for 2025. So, like I said, I was impressed with what the girls did on the field. And like I said, hey, just keep an eye out. This could be your dark horse here for this district. So, how did you feel after with the scrimmage?
I was just so X's and O's aside, I was so dang proud of them. Southwest tends to be a pretty physical game scrimmage for us every year, and it can get a little heated. And I told the kids, I said, this is our goal. I've really pushed the idea of we're going to do things our way. With social media and the friendships they have in club, and they play against each other and whatnot, and they've got their fun little trash talking and whatnot. I just told them, I said, those are not things we can control. We can control our side of the ball. We can control, what we do on our bus, what we do in our locker room, what we do in our training sessions, how we carry ourselves. And the same thing with the parents. We're going to do things our way. I don't care what the other teams are doing. I don't care what girls they have on their roster. We take care of our side. We're going to do it the Harlan way. And so, the day prior at our training session, we were kind of just running a little bit 8v8 stuff. And I caught myself just watching. I'm pretty vocal, but I just caught myself watching for a good 4 or 5 minutes. I didn't say anything at all. And I caught myself with this huge smile, this goofy smile on my face. And we got one of our kids out right now, and she's like, Coach, are you okay? Because they're not used to seeing a lot of that type of expression from me. I'm pretty serious in training, but, aside from the joke here or there. And I said, man, we look really good. I said, I don't want to jinx us. We haven't even put on a jersey yet, but it's a different feel. The kids are having fun. They're laughing at the right times. They're focused at the right times. They've really taken account of what our goals are, because we've pushed it since the first day of school. And they've really bought in. They've taken ownership of that. And so, we've pushed just simple things, back to passing, back to first touches, back to completing passes, back to not dwelling on little mistakes. And they've really changed that mindset. But I couldn't be prouder of how they played. Second half, I already had a game plan. We're going to put our subs in. I want to see what they can do against some of the best teams in San Antonio. Southwest is known. They kind of go a couple rounds deep every year. She's got a solid program out there. They're well coached. They're disciplined. So I wanted to see what my kids can do coming off the bench. If those are tough roles to play, why not put them in that situation from the get-go? Bigger risk, you get bigger rewards, and we had nothing to lose. We did lose a 2-0 tie, or 2-0 lead, excuse me. But it's no skin off our back. Our kids needed to fight. They needed to build some resilience. And, we found ourselves down 3-2 with 8 minutes left. And the most proud things I am, they got the ball out of the net, put it back on the half, and we got rolling. And there we go. We got a great pass from one of our seniors into a sophomore, just made a great run, perfect time. We've been working on that quite a bit. And she slipped one through. We've been hitting corners. Shooting hasn't always been our strong point, but we've really, just like I said, simple things, hit low into the corner, make the keeper make saves. If they can't make a save, hey, you're the hero for the day, and that's what it is. So coming out, even the bus ride home, you would have thought we had just run district championship, but it was a great feeling to have. It was a great bus ride, It's just, like I said, it just feels different, And this is my third year, and the kids are having fun. That's all that matters at the end of the day.
Yeah, because like after the games, because when we were talking, I can sense from the girls that there's some excitement, and they have that little swag too, like they know something is about to happen, that I think they're clicking, and they know it's like, hey, what, we got something here. I think we're going to surprise some people this year.
Well, I just asked them, I said, just trust the process, just trust the process. But if our game plan doesn't work, I'll be the first to say, hey, that didn't work. Let's change it up. I'm the first one to admit when I'm wrong, and modeling that for them has kind of helped as well. And so, yeah, heads are high, and they're laughing, and they're changing a lot of little things, and it's making big differences so far.
Steve, do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you. So it was really cool to hear the name Sandoval. I don't know if a lot of people listening to this show or podcast understand the Liz and Hector impact that they've had on San Antonio
God,
soccer throughout the
yeah,
years. Are really in the 90s, 2000s, and maybe even before that. I don't want to age them too
yeah,
much, but they've had a huge impact on San Antonio. So with various schools across the city. So, but very cool. Yeah, I just wanted to find out, how is your, is it, are you more upperclassmen or kind of a mix range of, students or players on your team for this upcoming season?
Well, we got a little hefty load in the senior area. We've got 8 seniors on our roster this year. At the junior level, we've got about a handful of them. Sophomores are going to be another big class for us. We're not heavy in the sophomore class on our varsity roster right now, but they'll be coming in next year. Pretty good group. We'll have about 6 or 7 girls that'll replace the 8 that we're losing this year. And then we've got one freshman that came in, and she's in a real tough position, being that only freshman on a varsity squad with a lot of experience. So she's taken well to it. So we're
Yeah.
carrying about 21 girls this year.
Gotcha. And then, how are you coming into the season health wise? I know, kind of club season kind of is kind of coming to a close as far as the fall winter time frame. But health wise, how are you coming into this season?
We got a couple of starters from last year that are kind of nursing some nagging. I don't want to say injury, just nagging aches and pains. The growing pains of
Yeah.
being a female high school soccer player.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize the anatomy that really goes into coaching girls and being mindful of everything that they can't control, what their bodies are going through, and especially the sophomore to junior age level those are tough years for them. So we got a couple of kids that are kind of nursing some stuff here and there. We haven't tested them any type of competition outside of training yet. We're kind of letting their bodies rest a little bit. That's one thing that I've implemented this year. We have weekly mandatory treatment sessions. They moaned and whined and griped about it, and after that first one, we did it Thursday morning before we played Southwest, and they were ready to play another game after Southwest. And I don't know if that was the adrenaline talking or what, but even Saturday morning, I was getting a lot of messages like, "Coach, my legs feel so good." They're ready for training on Monday. We had another ice bath session this morning, and it was a little bit tougher with it being a little bit colder outside.
Mm-hmm.
But they're walking around school, not limping around, not moping. Their body language is different. And so they're really seeing it. We do a lot of recovery stuff. They got at home stuff that the parents have also helped us out with, and just nutrition and hydration. We're really pushing that as well. But that's the name of the game, right? That's always a secret weapon, is trying to keep your kids healthy. So, we're not in a bad spot right now. The good thing is we've got kids that are stepping up. And I think they're realizing what their roles are. And, like I said, you have a couple of starters that are returning. They're young. They've got big positions that they hold. And kids that are getting that playing time right now are realizing that, hey, here's my chance to show what I can do. And at the same token, they've accepted their role, whether it be as a starting position or they're coming off the bench as a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really like the fact that the way that you handled that scrimmage, your overall record, and I know it's a scrimmage, so it doesn't really go into your record, but the mindset that you already have of, hey, let's put the subs in and see what we have, depth wise, because health wise, you're good right now, but later on down the season, that might not be the case. So,
Right.
It's a good opportunity for those players to get some field time and touches and see what they can do, especially considering, the pressure of the game. Once you start putting on those, jerseys, it's different than, training. But going back to your training, that moment that you had where you were just smiling for about 4 or 5 minutes and not really coaching. Usually you typically see that towards the end of or the middle to the end of the season. So it's pretty neat to actually have you, do that so early in the season. So I think that that's a good sign for you and the girls are really getting it already. So Rafa had a lot of good things to say about the scrimmages y'all had with Southwest, and I look forward to going out there and seeing a couple of y'all's matches this season. And yeah, good luck to you guys.
Thank you so much.
So, Coach, going into, I guess, the 2025, how do you feel as far as your team stacking up against the rest of the district teams?
We take one day at a time, one training session at a time, one play at a time. I'm really trying to take the focus off of our schedule's our schedule. We can't control that. I told the kids, UIL gets to decide when we start. We get to decide when we finish. And so right now we just got to get through December. I don't want to. I'm not looking at our first game yet. District play. We're looking at having some fun with our alumni coming back. Our first annual alumni scrimmage is Saturday. We're looking forward to getting the kids a little bit of rest. With a little bit of unguided training that we expect out of them to maintain everything that they've worked so hard for the last 6 months. And then, we travel over to Judson for our last scrimmage of December. And then we go from there. There's going to be, like I said, a lot of movement. We're still playing with our starting lineup. We're playing with our sub rotation. We had Medina Valley was another tough scrimmage for us. We walked out of there with a 1-1 draw and a lot of great things. The conversations are the best part. Like I said, the mindset's just shifted. It's no longer, hey, Coach, why didn't I play? It's, hey, Coach, in that position, when this happens, what do I do if I'm in there? And so that's been the best thing to see. And so we're just taking it in strides. Brandon's Zoila and I always have fun. We're great friends on the sideline. And once that first whistle blows, we glare at each other and then we're best friends after the last whistle. We've got Brendan and we got O'Connor back to back. Like I said, keeping our kids healthy is just the name of the game. And it's more than just physically healthy. We're working on mental and emotional and spiritual health as well. They're finishing up exams this week. They're under a lot of stress. They wear a lot of different hats. A lot of kids are working. A lot of them have other roles outside of just being a soccer player. And so we're all about the total athlete. So like I said, it's just, we just want to get into a groove, and like I said, if we have to make some changes, the kids that aren't getting as many minutes as some of our starters, they're ready to go, and they're hyped up and they're anxious and they're engaged. And, they know that when their number is called, the expectation is when we cross those white lines, you just got to play, play to the best of your ability. And so they're really trusting that process, like I said, but we don't really talk ahead, one day at a time. I mean, in all honesty, we don't even have control over tomorrow, so let's get there first. And so, our goal right now is December, and let's see what our scrimmages bring us. Let's see what we can do in our scrimmages. And then we readjust for our tournaments, get some rest in and let everybody battle it out that we've got the first round bye. Let everybody battle out that first one, get their kinks out, and we're ready to go because we're going to be sitting out a little bit waiting for our turn. So we're patient, and that's I think the most important part sometimes.
Harry, any questions, Harry?
Yeah, no, I saw on Max Preps that you're going to be playing Judson, and I know that's your alma mater, so I'm sure that'll be a fun with the family, if you still got family that root for Judson for there here. And then
they're forced to support whoever whatever stuff I've got over my heart. So I don't have a choice. My little nephews are indoctrinated in the Hawk life. My 5-year-old nephew goes around saying Hawk yeah and Talons up, and so yeah, he didn't have a choice. But no, it's always a fun time. Coach Morrison's out there now. I play a little women's league with her back a little while ago, we'll say that. And so it's just community. It's fun. Yeah. It's let me be honest with you. I'll be straightforward. The Judson High School that's up right now is not the one that I went to, so it's a little tough for me. I still live in the district, and I'm a Rocket through and through. Once a Rocket, always Rocket. But I joke with my sister because we got a big age gap, and so she went to the new Judson High School, and so I was like, no, that's not the OG one. You're like, you're from San Antonio if you know Converse Judson. So, but no, it's fun. I look forward to it. I mean, Judson High School is like 2.5 miles away from me, where I live. So we just love playing. Like I say, Coach Morrison's also a great friend of mine, and we we love seeing our kids play. That it's being able to go from the field, we were in our early 20s, early 30s, and now being on the sideline to kind of invest in the next generation is just really cool to be a part of.
And then the other thing that's just looking at the tournament, I know the NISD tournament where you play Lockhart, Seguin, but on the 4th playing against Bernie. According to Max Preps, it's at noon. I haven't seen it on the NISD website yet.
There was actually an update to that. They changed it up last week. We're gonna have Brackenridge on that Saturday.
Oh, Brackenridge. Okay.
Yeah.
So, that was the game. I was like, oh, that'd be a very entertaining game between
we were looking forward to that one too. Yeah.
Programs. So, but no, I do hope that I usually try to go out and catch a day's worth of action here. So, hopefully, when the schedule comes up, if come on NISD post it so that way I can
give it to you. It's ready to go. I know they hold off a little bit. But yeah, we got the 7 o'clock on Thursday. We've got the 2 o'clock on Friday, and then the 12 o'clock on Saturday. So we'll start off at Gus, head over to Northside Stadium on the grass field, and then we'll finish that out at Ferris.
So, but yeah, that's a fun day. And like I said, I know we try to promote local, tournaments and stuff like that. The Northside ISD tournament's always a fun tournament, at all the locations to go to and being able to support the different teams. But Rafa, any final questions you have for Coach, and then we can look at the 6A overall between the boys and the girls?
So, Coach, just before we wrap up, how do you feel about the new changes with the UIL, with the playoffs, and also with the mercy rule?
I'm not a fan of the mercy rule. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm old school, man. Like, let's play it out. And I think too, with just the kind of climate of where high school sports has gone. I want to see my kids play. I want to see them play, first whistle, last whistle. And I know there's been a lot of talk of like, oh, we'll just hold back and not score. And, that takes away from the game. I'm always one, I have a high integrity for holding a lot of respect for the game. And I just kind of feel like we're taking away from a little bit and kind of cheating the kids, some. And, unfortunately, I think as coaches, we've all been on the other side where, it just sucks. You're down 8-9-0. But that's life. You can't just throw in the towel and be like, oh, I'm gonna throw an audible and just gotta dip out of it. Like that teaches you resilience and how to face adversity, and just you learn from those occurrences. And so I not a big fan of the mercy rule. In terms of the UIL alignment, man, it's tough. But that's the competition is what you're here for, right? Kind of getting to witness our football team making it top 4 in the state, our volleyball team doing really well. Man, I've just got great leaders in Eddie Salas and Monica Gonzalez, and watching those two, just they make it look so easy. And I know it's not. They've got great poker faces, but being able to pick their brain, and their door's always open. So I'm here for it. Like I said, we take one at a time, and we got to get there first. We got a tough district. But the kids are building their confidence, and I think once that first January district game comes with Brennan, I think the kids are going to be ready, and so we go from there. But one day at a time, we got to get points on the board and points in our column, and let's figure out that part first. We've got a long way before we get to March, and it's an uphill battle, and we're here to work. So. It is what it is, it is what it is. So I think it just makes it that much more fun. I love competition. Love it.
Monica and I went to school together. We both went to Jefferson. So. Oh yeah. Yeah. She's a year younger than myself, but yeah, she's doing great things with the volleyball program there.
It's just phenomenal. Like, I'm so honored to work under both of them. Like, they're just ray of positivity all the time. Like, they're just go-getters. Like I said, I've always been in a pretty supportive climate when it comes to the coaching staffs that I've been on. But hands down, they're phenomenal. They're always available, just always willing. They ask you every single. I'll get a text message after we walk off the field. Hey, how'd y'all do? And that can be a little overwhelming. With the same token, it's like, man, everybody's invested in everything that we do at Harlan, and so it's a great place to be. It's a great place for the kids. Like I said, they win or lose, they know that they're going to get unconditional love and support when we head back to campus.
Final thoughts and anything you want. It's your floor is yours. Anything you want to say out there for everybody there at the Hawk Nation. Any shout outs to anybody? You're more looking to say.
I just get out and go watch these kids. I don't want to make any promises. The promises I have are to my kids and showing up every day and playing my role just as much as I ask them to play their role. But, I'm okay with us being counted out with some stuff. I tell the kids, I don't care what comes out on paper, that the pressure's off. Like, we just get to go play and have fun. And like I said, the kids know when they walk up the field that they're doing some great things, and that's all we can ask for at the end of the day. And that, like you said, the swag is a little bit different. The training's been a little bit different. But like I said, our district is always a tough one, and our goal is to hit one of those top 4 spots. And I really feel like we have a chance to do it this year. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but we're in a really great position, and of course there's only one place to go, and that's up. So we're going to climb the ladder, and we're going to fight tooth and nail, and we're going to give some people a run for their money this year.
Thank Coach. Like I said, we look forward to seeing you during the season. I'm sure me and Steve are going to be out there. Hopefully we'll get to last year one of your games and to broadcast it. And like I said, I enjoyed that game against Southwest. Like I said, I see a lot of great things, and it's going to be a fun season there at Harlan, and all the fans out there. Make sure you go out and support your team. And I know the boys got a lot of the attention, but I think the girls team, I think you guys are going to make some noise this year. So I look forward to see you guys.
Yeah, I mean, hey, what better way to spend your Tuesday and Friday night watching girls, boys? Like I said, it's you get double the show. So hopefully it'll be double the fun. I know, Bert and I work pretty closely together, and we're always we're always talking shop. So we just want to get back to where, like I said, Shea Huntington really kind of laid the ground, and I just want to build from there. I want to get back to by district championships and second round, third round, and see what we can do, put us back on the soccer map. But I think you guys, y'all really put a lot of investment on the behind the scenes, and it's really great for the community. The sport is such a fun sport. It's such an inclusive sport, and as people like you continue to grow it, that's just going to be so much better for everybody that wants to be a part of it. So it's really cool to see. It's just a great atmosphere to be in. We've been telling people this for years. Like, you don't understand. You just come to a game. You don't have to understand the rules. Just come to a game. But no, we thank you guys for doing what you do, and kind of shedding some light for these kids and getting them seen. And at the end of the day, we're having fun. You guys are having fun, and that's all that matters.
I will say the best price is if the games are on the grass fields where you at 1 and 2, and you can rotate between the 4 matches between there. Playing at Fairs, playing at Gus, I know it's the big stadium and along those lines, but as a fan and being able just to kind of observe, to me, the grass fields, dude, because you can be right there on the action for that here, and I love it. And for the price to get in for that here, just make sure you go through. Is it the fan app that you can go through the Northside website for that here, which does support the schools. And then, of course, if you are if you have children that are through it, try to support the athletic boosters for that here by volunteering for the concession stands. I know AJ's already asked me to volunteer when Jay has their days. So please do, because it really does help the programs, local schools out by helping the athletic booster programs of each school.
Absolutely.
Thank Coach again for coming on the show today. And wish you luck this season. I'm sure we'll see you later down the road, and hopefully we'll get to see Harlan on. They're on the bracketology there. Get to make
let's
some
hope.
there.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for having me. It truly was a pleasure. Love spending time. Anytime I can talk soccer, I'm here for it. So I appreciate y'all's time too.
Coach, we'll soon. Have a good
night.
Bye.
So that was Coach Vela from Harlan High School, the Lady Hawks for that here. Max Preps let me down again. I was like, "Oh, Bernie." No, she's like, "No."
That would actually have been a really good game. After what I've seen, and like I said, good result with Medina Valley too. Because remember, Medina Valley won district last year, and they were co-district champs with Southwest.
It was at Medina Valley too, so it was on the road.
So yeah, 2 road games. Like I said, two great results, and like I said, she mentioned about the scrimmages. Her focus wasn't, she didn't treat it as a game. It was more wanting to see what her players, especially her bench players, because that's if you're going to make a run, especially in district, and I know Steve mentioned about the injuries. If you have injuries, you're going to need your key players from your bench to step up in those roles, and those can be your difference makers. There, getting you into the playoff spot or even contending for that district championship.
Right.
But one thing that she did tease is the depth that they have. And I know Steve pre-show was kind of asking about some players and that probably could contend for varsity. And they're still playing at JV just because I think she mentioned that there's the large senior class and then, sprinkled in with some juniors. So with Harlan, because that's one of the things that I've noticed here. Several teams have good first teams. But when you start subbing in players, sometimes you'll see a drop there. So it'll be interesting to see how Harlan does with because there will be nicks and bruises. It happens every year. Hopefully nothing serious along those lines. But what do you want to get into next, Rafa?
Well, let's start the 6A preview. Like I said, since we did talk about Harlan, like I said, we'll get it started here.
Hold on. Let's do this here first. Let's go through the changes. In 6A, District 25, Hutto moved in to District 25. And also, what was the other one? I think that's the only one, right?
That was the only one.
Yeah, that's the only one. District 26, Buddha Johnson moved out. And Austin Anderson moved down
to 5A.
27 became 29. So this is where I'm probably going to get tripped up here. Buddha Johnson moved in to it with Steele. Canyon moved up, right? From 5A, if I got this right.
Yeah.
Judson, East Central, San Marcos, Clemens. So basically there's been, New Braunfels moved down to 5A from the old 27, the new 29. District 28 is now 27. The only change that they have is they lost Marshall. For that here, nobody else moved in. District 29, which is now District 28, had J drop to 5A, had had Marshall move back in. And then we're also going to be covering District 30, because it was Del Rio, Eagle Pass, and the 4 Laredo schools. But not unfortunately. Well, unfortunately, I guess if you're Medina Valley, happen to travel down to Laredo and Del Rio and Eagle Pass, as opposed to being tied into the Northside schools. Medina Valley is now in with Del Rio, Eagle Pass, Laredo Alexander, Johnson United, and Laredo United South. 31. Had West Luco move over from 32, but it's the Edinburgh and Mission dropped, right? Mission dropped to 5A. And then 32, the big one is Brownsville Rivera dropped down
to 5A,
which makes that a 5-team district where 4 of them make the playoffs. So
then Veterans Memorial moved up from 5A to 6A.
Veterans.
So basically flip flop, yeah.
Okay. Well, no, they lost somebody else.
Rivera dropped down to 5A. Veterans Memorial moved up from 5A to 6A.
Well, they had Brownsville, Hannah River, Rivera, Los Fresnos.
Oh, Westlaco moved.
Westlaco the one that moved.
Westlaco moved. That's right.
Yeah, Westlaco.
I wonder why they didn't keep them in there, just to kind of give it a more even balance. But
yeah, you would think, but Yeah, I don't. Yeah, we that's above our pay grade.
We've talked about it several times for that year. So moving to 27, and this goes for boys. Well, we'll start with the boys here. And of course, as always, I have the attendance figures since we're going to be talking D1, D2, as far as levels, as far as when it comes to the playoffs. For 27, Brandeis, Clark, Churchill, Johnson, Lee, Madison, Reagan, Roosevelt. Still an extremely tough division with only 8 teams. Your thoughts? We'll start with you, Rafa, on 27 boys.
So this is going to be an interesting season because, like I said, the team that won the district, Johnson, was very kind of senior laden. They lost some key players. Their leading scorer, the top goalkeeper. So we'll see how they rebound this year. Lee was very young last year, and they actually made a run towards the end, and were able to get that last playoff spot, and also win a playoff game.
They missed. No, they came in 5th actually.
Did they? Okay, I thought they got into the last spot.
No, they were right there, but Reagan
right
got
there.
the.
Oh yeah,
the
I mixed them up. It was who was it? It was Madison's the one that
Madison's got 3rd and Reagan got 4th. Yeah.
Okay. So I thought Reagan missed the playoffs.
No, the boys that Reagan got. So it was Johnson, Brandeis, Madison, then Reagan.
Okay. So we guys go over the bracketology again. So, but this, like I said, District 27 is going to be a tough one, and this could be a wide open. Maybe you have 3 favorites. I know Reagan. I know they lost a lot of players the year before. They were a little bit young last year, but I think, like I said, they should bounce back. I think they'll be retooled and ready to go. Same thing with Lee. Lee was kind of a little off here, but they'll be back. I think the team to keep an eye for, and I think Steve mentioned to me about was Churchill. He mentioned about a freshman player that they had last year that was one of their top forwards, and he's probably going to be one of the players to keep an eye on. They do have a new coach that came in from the Valley. We'll see how his system of play works with them. And Brandeis, like I said, also another strong team from last year. But I know they lose a lot of seniors. We'll see how it's a rebuilding there for them. But like I said, it's going to be a dogfight each year for this season going into the playoffs as far as with the district title.
Yeah, and you also got to take Clark into consideration. They had a decent team. They didn't have the best record per se last year, but I know a lot of their games were fairly competitive. So that's another team that needs to be taken into consideration as far as maybe sliding into a playoff spot. But I mean, I think you're going to have your usual suspects here with Brandeis, Johnson, Lee, Churchill. Of course, Reagan's usually always there. So, one of those teams is not going to be able to make it. You can only have, 4 teams make the playoffs. So, like y'all started talking about this district, it's still right there as far as probably the toughest district on the boys' side is in within the city, just due to the fact that they, have a lot of teams that do advance pretty deep into the playoffs. So, yeah.
So I do have a correction for the boys for the district who made the playoffs. So the teams that made the playoffs last year for this district, so we had Johnson as the district champ. Madison did finish 4th. Then the runner-up was Brandeis, and then the third was Lee. So Reagan did miss the playoffs. Okay. Yeah, so Lee was the 3rd place, and they actually did win the playoff game. They knocked off Steele, but they ended up getting eliminated by Bowie. Johnson, like I said, they had a great run last year, and I actually thought I thought this was the year to get them to the state tournament, but they got upset by Enderburg North. Madison was a surprise last year. They knocked off Clemens, but then they lost a tough one with Westlake in the in the second round, and then looking at let's see, try to say where Brandeis. Brandeis got a 2-1 win over New Braunfels last year, but then they had I think Steve, you were at that game against Vandergrift. So that they have Vandergrift ended up going all the way to the state tournament last year.
Yeah, Vandergrift, every shot they took in the second half seemed to go in. Yeah, they had a solid. They ran into the wrong team on the wrong day. Brandeis did, but Vandergrift was pretty solid. So, and then Vandergrift's football team's in the state championship this weekend too. So they're doing good things up there in Austin.
Yep.
So moving to 28 for the boys, Brennan, Harlan, Holmes, Marshall, a new addition, O'Connor, Sotomayor, Stevens, Taft, and Warren. Stevens, I still root for you, although AJ doesn't play for you anymore. Still rooting for you, so hopefully we can get it turned around. Maybe sneak into the top 4, but I know it's going to be extremely tough. We'll go with you first on this one, Steve. Your thoughts on the 28 boys?
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty competitive district. I think the usual suspects here is typically, of course, Harlan's always been top of the table the last few years. Brennan's always produces a strong team, each and every year. I'm curious to see what O'Connor does. They kind of had a little bit of a down year last year, it seemed,
For them,
compared to years past. So that's the one that's kind of the question mark regarding how this district plays out. They usually have something to say about it year after year. I do know Sotomayor is they're looking decent as far as some of the players that I know. They've got some good players up there down the street at Sotomayor, and but the other two that I really like are Taft, and I think I mentioned that on the 50-50 side is Taft and Warren. So those are two that I think are really going to put a big stamp on this district. So watch out for those two teams on the boys' side to make a big impact regarding District 28.
So John Jay did make the playoffs last year as the third seed. So that's going to open up a playoff slot that wasn't filled. So last year, Brennan finished runner-up. John Jay finished third. Harlan went undefeated, 12-0-2. Had a really good run. Was the winner of 29. And then Warren got the last spot. I think for the last 2 or 3 years, my view of this, it seems like there's usually 2 or 3 teams that break away. And then that 4th slot basically goes from 4 to 7, 4 to 8 on most years. For that here, as far as who can get it, and just as Rafa has mentioned previously episodes, being able to steal a point if you're the road team, and I know it's kind of odd saying that because they all play typically at the same locations, but being able to steal a point from one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league can make a huge difference on where you finish.
Yeah, this district is, like I said, it's pretty much Harlan. Harlan is probably going to be the favorite. And I think speaking to them, I remember on the 50-50 podcast, we spoke to them. That the team was very young, and so they have a lot coming back. So I think they really exceeded expectations last year. So you're going to have a very experienced team going into this season, and like I said, they're going to see if they can make another deep run again. Like they've done in the past, but now it's going to be a little different because now they have to face the teams from 27 6A in the first round of the playoffs, and also run into the Austin area teams in round 2. But I think Harlan should win the district. I would keep an eye on Brennan. They have a new coach who did come over from Harlan. I think he's going to really do a lot of great things there for that program. I think he'll have them ready to go to contend. O'Connor, I think they'll bounce back. I know it's a little off here for them. Warren, like I said, I think Warren kind of started strong, but then kind of faltered a little bit. But then they kind of, like I said, they're able to get back on track. So they'll be in the mix. TAPPS is like maybe your dark horse as far as into the playoffs, because they had some upsets last year towards the end. Like they knocked off like Jay in a game that really kind of changed the outlook as far as the seeding. So we'll see what they'll do, and then. As far as Soto, actually, me and Harry did get to see Soto. Like I said, do have some talent there, so got some work to do. But like I said, if they can get everything pieced together, I think they can maybe contend for that 4th spot.
Excuse me. Moving on to 29. Buda Johnson, new team to the district. Cibolo Steel, Como Canyon, new team. Judson, the new version of the Judson, as we've learned. East Central, San Marcos, and one of my favorites, Shirts Clemens, for that here. So your thoughts, Rafa, on 29 and the impact of Canyon and Buda Johnson moving over?
So, like I said, last year was pretty much like a 3-team race between Steele, New Braunfels, and Clemens. But now that New Braunfels has dropped down to 5A, but you add another really good team, which is the Canyon Cougars, who have done a lot of great things in 5A, especially in that Hill Country district with Burning Champion, Piper. Like I said, so they can hold their own. I think they're probably going to be the favorites in this district. Like I said, you have Steele coming back. Same thing with Clemens. The key thing will be that 4th spot. I think may come down to either Johnson or East Central and San Marcos and Judson. So those are probably the back end of those teams are going to be fighting out for that last spot for the 4th spot.
Yeah, watch out for, like Rafa said, San Marcos. They did slide into the 4th slot. They took 4th in district last year. And I do know that they have a lot of sophomores and juniors that we played against when I was with Premier last year. So they had a lot of 08s and 09 that really good team. And they really gave us some good games last year whenever we played them. Always very close matches, but they had some really good quality players over there that, I mean, to me, they ran like the whole 80 minutes, like full speed. So they were very fit. So that's a team that I kind of wanted to highlight within this district. Of course, you've got, the typical, Steele, Clemens, Buda Johnson is going to also make an impact within this district. I think on the boys and the girls side, and especially the Canyon, New Braunfels Canyon, they're going to make an impact on the boys and girls side as well. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to, don't forget about, San Marcos, who did make the playoffs last year and, have a lot of young players that are coming in. So yeah, returning. So, I mean, that being said, I don't necessarily know where those players go to high school, because they could very well go to Buda and San Marcos are right there, next to each other. So yeah, I'm not sure where they go to high school, but watch
Hayes
out.
or
Buda
Hayes or Lehman, yeah, or Lehman, yep.
Mm-hmm. Kyle Lehman, yeah, exactly.
Moving to District 30, which is a new district we didn't really cover last year. But with Castroville moving over, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, Laredo Alexander, Laredo Johnson, United, and United South. So last year, United won the district at 22, 6-2, 9-1. Alexander finished second at 15, 11, 2, 7 3. United South 11, 9, 5, 5 3, and then Del Rio, and this is according to Max Preps, 99, 3 5 for that here. And I believe they made the playoffs, right? If I remember.
Yeah, they lost to Harlan in the first round.
So to me, Medina Valley, I know they're moving up, but they historically have done very well in the 5A in the South. They didn't win it because they were with Southwest. But how do you think that they fit in with the Laredo schools? And I know we had the opportunity at one of AJ's club games to kind of talk a little bit about Del Rio, Eagle Pass, a little bit about on the club level, and how that maybe could kind of correlate to the high school season. Rafa, since you were there, your thoughts on 30, and then we'll go to Steve.
So with this district, like I said, with Medina Valley moving in, Medina Valley is battle tested. They had a good season last year. Like I said, they did go toe to toe, with Southwest. They didn't back down from them, even though Southwest did run away with that district. But Medina Valley, they were strong for a while, and then they kind of faltered a little bit. Kind of in the second round of the district play, but then they were able to get it back together.
They did Coach the Harlandale.
Yeah. So Coach Payne's done an excellent job there with that program, and I think another factor with Medina Valley, and I remember going to a club game with you, Harry, in that one game AJ played. They were playing that Medina Valley club soccer team. That's actually helped that program. Those players playing on the off season has helped the high school team really develop, get their increase the level of play and stuff. So they're playing a lot of competitive club teams during the off season. It's going to help them in the high school, especially in this district. This is going to be a tough district. There is a lot of talent in Laredo. Like I said, United and Alexander have been kind of the crown jewels of that district. Another team also to keep an eye out is, like I said, is OBJ. Even though they didn't make the playoffs last year, OBJ does have a lot of raw talent. If they can get it together, they'll be a very dangerous team. Same thing with United South. They've had some good teams as well. Those 4 United ISD schools always bring it. My old alma mater, my old team, Del Rio. Like I said, they made the playoffs, but Harlan, they had a 6-0 win over them. I think from talking to some people over there, the people I talked to back home, they did lose some key players. So this could be maybe a little rebuilding year for them. I think they're going to be, from what I was heard, they're going to be a little young. So they may try to get the 4th spot. And then Eagle Pass and Harry, we saw that some of that club team that played. They had a lot of talent, and they went toe to toe with that Duncanville team.
Yep, toe to toe.
And there's some excitement down there in Eagle Pass. And just talking to some of the people down there, I think the big factor for them is going to be is comes down to coaching. If the coach can kind of get it together there with that talent and use it the kind of the right way, and everything clicks on cylinders, Eagle Pass could be like a dark horse in that district with that all those club players are going to play with that team.
Steve, any thoughts on District 30 for the boys?
Yeah. So as far as Medina Valley is concerned, I mean, it's a tough district that they were placed into, not just because of the talent, across the whole district, but, of course, the travel. The travel is going to, possibly, it's going to come into play. It's a long drive that they're not necessarily used to, but that being said, I think that's going to, keep them motivated each and every week to, give their best performance every time they get off that bus, whether they're traveling or playing a home match. And the thing about them is they do have a home field advantage. So, they've got that community, like Rafa said, there in the Castroville area that does come out and support them. I've been out to a couple matches of their high school matches, and they do get a good little, turnout to those games and big support and all of that. So they truly do have a home field advantage compared to the Northeast and North Side schools. Laredo, it's hit and miss with those schools. They always have all their teams, though, are always very fast. They have very fast players. They've got a lot of talent as well. And when I say it's hit and miss, what I mean is one year it's Alexander, another year it's Johnson, another year it's United. So it just kind of depends on where, I guess, the talent falls for that year, but it's not like how Harlan is always top of their district. So it always changes and fluctuates each and every year for the Laredo school. So I don't know too much about, what Laredo has, other than they do, have a lot of speed each year than when we see them come playoff time. The players that they do have, they have a lot of speed. They play quickly. They're very technical. So that's the good thing that they have. But there's not a we've looked at some of the districts and you can kind of tell, okay, these are the teams that are going to be vying for the playoffs. To me, looking at this, I mean, I think all 7 really have a shot to get into the playoffs here, as well as Eagle Pass. Like Rafa said, they've got some good teams, club teams that are coming out of Eagle Pass. And I know that I talked to one of their DOCs at one of their clubs from their academy, and they're doing a lot of really good things over there in Eagle Pass, and building those programs up from the early, and young ages. So, that's, kudos to them for, doing that. And, I think it's going to start paying dividends here pretty soon. And it already has, I think I saw them against Medina Valley a couple years ago, and they had some really good players. So, but yeah, this is a tough district. As far as trying to get out of this district, it's going to be a challenge for each and every match.
So I will say, go ahead. Well, I was going to talk about the traffic, the travel, whether it's going to Eagle Pass, Del Rio, or down to Laredo. It's about between a 2 to 2.5 hour drive. Yeah. To all the schools, looking at the map here. So they'll get to know each other very well, and vice versa. The teams have to travel up to them as well. So.
And do we know for if the boys are on the road, then the girls are at home? Is that
what I did find out? So the boys, the JV boys game and the varsity boys games are played on the same night. Mm-hmm. So if, let's say, Del Rio's at Eagle Pass for the boys, the Eagle Pass girls are at Del Rio. So that's how the district has been doing their things. Because I did see. Yeah, so I did see on some of the schedules there that they don't do what they north side here, but where we're kind of accustomed to, where you have the varsity boys play first and then the girls, or vice versa. Like I said, they're total opposite. Like I said, opposite locations there. I think even this year, I think Coach Cano mentioned about his district that we're going to be kind of the opposite too. So they're going to be similar to this district.
Jay mentioned that was going to be the big adjustment for him is. The JV will play before, and then the varsity will play, which has its positives and negatives, because obviously, having the JV watch the varsity and vice versa, which is what Coach Poor mentioned. But the flip side is if you got somebody that's kind of a tweener in between, you'll have to make a decision. Does he play varsity or does he play JV? Because generally speaking, you're not going to have him playing back-to-back games.
But for this district, I think for the boys, I think the two favorites are going to be United and Alexander, because they've been probably the 2 most consistent teams in that district the last few years. I know Alexander had a good run a few years ago. They made it to the regional tournament. So, like I said, United, they always have a good spot. And then one thing I also did find out, they're actually United, Alexander, and United South, they're actually playing at that Austin Elite Showcase. So they're going to be they're playing some competition to get them prepared not only for district play but also for the playoffs. So they're not shying away from playing some of these tough teams. I think Lake Travis was going to play. I think United South. I think just seen on one of the schedules. So they're like I said, they're putting themselves out there and playing top-notch caliber teams. Like I said, usually they also play, some of the top teams from the Valley, like the Brownsville team. So they don't shy away who they play.
Yeah, and not only that, they Rafa and I saw them at the J game last year. Before, I think it was the game before the play by district started, just to start scouting already. So they're all in. They mean business down there in Laredo. So they had a couple coaches come out and scout Jay before the by district match. But I do have a question on this district. Do we know if ties are going to be a 1 point, or do they go to a shootout?
So they do go to a shootout, because I was last year I did broadcast with KWMC in Del Rio. Shout out to Memo Golazo there. So I was on the broadcast with them. So they were playing, I think, United South. Del Rio was playing United South, and they went to they were tied, I think, 2-2, and they went to a penalty shootout. So whoever wins, they get 2 points from a penalty shootout, and then 1 point for the loss for the other team. So they're one of the few teams.
Is that new for Medina Valley?
Yeah, that's going to be very new for Medina Valley. So, so that's an adjustment for they're going to have to make. I'm sure Coach Faint's probably already working on that, making sure, working with, find out who's their top five penalty kickers. Funny that for that game actually that I went to, they went to, I think, close to 8-9 rounds in PK. So. So it's like I said, that could be make or break. Also, like I said, who makes the playoffs or who wins the district title? Because I think last year was kind of there were some tight games on those, and that one penalty. I think one team got in the playoffs because of a penalty shootout or something like that. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna, like I said, Medina Valley does have their hands full, but when you play a team like caliber like Southwest years before, so you already know what to expect here.
Yeah, so they should be used to that speed, but seeing it each and every match, that's going to be a little bit different. But if we're going based off of logos here, I think Medina Valley should be district champ as far as their logos are concerned. I think that crest with the old US emblem is pretty clever and solid. So whoever put that together that's a pretty nice little crest for Medina Valley.
I don't know. I kind of like Alexander's, but with the mascot inside the ball. But we'll see. Moving on to the ladies, 27. Brandeis, Clark, Churchill, Johnson, Lee, Madison, Reagan, and Roosevelt Rough Riders.
Just another tough district again.
Yeah, it's just year after year. It just it never gets any easier. With now Marshall, getting pushed to another district, it just makes this even a tougher draw. So of course the usual suspects will go over those. Brandeis has always kind of been knocking on that door each and every year. Clark always brings a good solid team each and every year as well. They're always very steady, not too flashy. They always do the little things right. Churchill, they've had some, a couple down years, but I think that they, from a little bit what we saw them last year, they're kind of on the uptick. Johnson, what can you say about Johnson? They're always, vowing for district title. Lee, we always see, the last 5, 6 years or so, they've always been in the run and mix of things. And then Madison's going to be one that you really got to watch out for this year. They've got a lot of, good returning players. I feel that they're going to be in that mix, and Reagan as well. Reagan, just the name Reagan right there is just, it exudes soccer here in San Antonio. So, but then, you got Roosevelt as well, but I don't see Roosevelt making too much of an impact just based on historical, years past. But yeah, for most part, each match you got to bring your A game to earn those 3 points.
So yeah, last year, like I said, we had the district champ was Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
They made it to the second round. They did get eliminated by state finalist Austin Westlake. Madison, like I said, they finished 4th in district. They lost a tough one to New Braunfels. Lee, who had a great year last year. Because remember, a couple of years ago, they started strong and then they just kind of fell apart. They got it together this year. They had a win over Steele in the playoffs. And just lost a tough one against Austin Anderson. And then you look at also the Reagan first round win, and then they had a little heartbreaker against Round Rock, that 2-1 loss for them. So, but this is, like I said, one of the toughest for Region 4. It's one of probably the out of one of 3 toughest districts in the region, and maybe also even the state. As far as favorites, like I said, you got 7 teams that can flat out play, and it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a dogfight each game. It's a playoff game, but I think some teams to look out for. Like I said, you mentioned about Reagan. Reagan, they don't rebuild, they reload. So they're going to be in the mix. Lee, talking to Coach Cano, because they did scrimmage them over the weekend. He said to keep an eye on Lee. I think they're gonna do some good things again this year. Johnson, like I said, we thought Johnson maybe kind of would be their year to go deep too, because the girls had a lot of talent. We'll see how they bounce back. Same thing. Clark's been, like I said, even though they didn't make the playoffs last year, but they're a tough team. They can surprise you. So they'll be in it. Same thing. And Brandeis. Brandeis is kind of, they've been missing out a little bit, but I think maybe this year they might, hopefully they turn things around and maybe this will be a contention. So, and then Madison could be that dark horse for the district title too, with all the returners that they have back playing this year.
Moving to 28, Brennan, Harlan, Holmes, Marshall, O'Connor, Sotomayor, Stevens, Taft, Warren. The additions, Marshall moving in for Jay. Looking at last year's record for it here. Taft was the big winner of it. And then O'Connor, Warren, and then Brennan were the 3 playoff teams for that here. And I know we had Coach on for Harlan earlier today, so they missed out on the playoffs. Your thoughts on them, and do they bump somebody out that made the playoffs last year?
I think they have a great opportunity with the experience that they have back. Just kind of like I said, watching them. I know it's just one game, but you can tell as far as when you watch them, their technical play, and that's the key there. If you see their technical play on point, they're going to do some good things on the field, and that was the thing. They were very consistent on their technical play. So as long as that stays together and they build upon that, like I said, I can see them getting into the playoffs. The favorite's probably going to be O'Connor. I think O'Connor is going to be the favorite this year. Like I said, they had a great run last year. Also, keep an eye on Brennan. Like I said, the last few years has been the Brennan O'Connor Taft show. One knocks out at the other, and it costs someone ends up with the district title here and there. And but Brennan, I know they had a little doubt in the year last. They still made the playoffs, but like I said, even those young teams, but like I said, they're gonna have more experience this year. As far as with Taft, they did lose a lot of firepower.
They lost a lot last year. They got the goalkeeper though. They got the goalkeeper,
Madison. So I think her leadership is going to be the key here. And I did talk to Coach, when I was at TAPPS last month, and he just mentioned all the younger players, especially from the JV, they had a good JVs team. So those JV players are moving up to varsity. If they can kind of pick up the slack, get and really kind of start to shine and all that, I think they'll still be in contention. Another team to keep an eye out. It's kind of been knocking at the door has been Sotomayor. Sotomayor has kind of been there. They just haven't been able to get to that last playoff spot. So maybe this is the year. But the one team I'm very eager to watch again, and I know maybe Coach saw them last year because we did a game for them, is the Warren Warriors. Yeah. That's the team. They're going to be a very dangerous team this year. I think they have the best midfield. They have a great forward. That game versus O'Connor is going to be a very intense game. So if you have a chance, make sure you watch that game. Like I said, it's going to be a barn burner for that one.
Yeah, and they also got a goalkeeper that is now eligible to play for them. She had to play JV last year after a transfer, but yeah, that like Rafa said, that's who I kind of wanted to highlight was going to be the Warren, excuse me, Lady Warriors with that midfield and getting their keeper back and their striker. Yeah, I watch out for them. But to me, this district is going to be it's a 6-team race. for 4 spots. So you've got like pretty much what Rafa highlighted is Brennan, Harlan, O'Connor, Soto, Taft, and Warren. So those are going to be the teams that are going to be vying for those 4 playoff spots once again for this upcoming season. So yeah, I look forward to, this is pretty much the district that I live closest to. So going out and watching a lot of these girls and boys matches over here on the northwest side of San Antonio. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see this upcoming season as far as this district is concerned. I'm curious to see how it turns out.
So here's my question for the two of you. It used to be 29 played 30, for the hair, but now you're going to have 29 or now you're going to be having which 28 used to be 29.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have now 27, which is the Northeast schools, versus the 28 schools in the first round. We obviously, being a San Antonio program, we want the San Antonio schools to go deep, and having them kind of split was great because you would have the Northeast schools up in the top part of the bracket, the north sides or the and northwest school north side schools in the bottom half of the bracket, and then if they met, they met. But going head to head, how do you think, especially for I won't lie to you, I want to beat Austin. I'm tired of Austin always beating this. It seems like that we're kind of eliminating our best, we're taking away our teams early, as opposed to kind of having each district have its own shots against Austin and the Valley. Your guys' thoughts on the earlier matchups between 27 and 28?
I think
Josh mentioned Brandeis whipped up on TAF last week 4-1. Where are they on your list for that year?
Well, the power rankings list hasn't come out yet. So now, was that for the boys or for the girls, Joshua? Was it the Brandeis?
I believe that's for the girls.
For the girls, okay. So you can clarify that, Joshua, on the chat.
Because his daughter goes to Brandeis.
Okay. So, you can see, like I said, you can see there. Like I said, TAPPS is I'm not saying rebuilding. They just lost a lot of their firepower, but it's going to take some time. But who's to say by the end of the district play, they're not where not to say what they were last year, but they're going to be getting that experience and be ready to go. I think it's going to be a tough task for the 28 because they have to face 27, but that doesn't mean they can't compete with them, and that doesn't mean they can't beat them. And also the way the playoffs are set up. You have your D1s or your D2s. If you kind of look at here, let's say O'Connor probably be your maybe your Division II representative. They may end up facing like a Lee or a Madison. Brennan, if they go D1, they may end up facing like a Reagan or a Johnson or maybe a Clark. It's going to be interesting how these matchups come in once we get to closer to the playoffs.
Here on the girls' side.
So you're saying Brandon just go with 5 Frontier girls from Premier and Talent at the SA City goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So
here on the so to answer your question, Harry, here on the girls' side, if you're kind of start peeking at the playoff brackets and such, I think it's going to be tougher this year for this north side district going forward. The last couple of years they've been slated with kind of like the RGV bracket, which was tough for the boys, but for the girls, it wasn't as challenging as it is going to be now, because now, in the first round, they're going to have to play against a Northeast independent school district school. And then if you get past that, then I believe, I haven't really done too much
That's
research
Austin,
in the bracket,
Round Rock.
but after that it's Round Rock Austin. Yeah. So that's going to be, whereas you would see, Warren and Taft getting, 3 rounds deep, but that's typically because of the fact that, they played against either, a Corpus or a Valley school and Laredo school. And it was, like I said, not as challenging for them on that side of the bracket, which advanced, they were able to advance all the way to, regional quarterfinals and such. But this is going to be a big challenge. And like Rafa said, they can definitely compete by all means with Northeast schools and Austin schools, but it's just a matter of, putting their best foot forward and just bearing down in those crunch time, little moments. One little mistake, that's all it takes against those teams. And we saw it happen, with the Austin teams. You make one mistake in your back line or your midfield, and they turn that into a ball in the back of the net. So that's where it's going to be a little bit more challenging for them. But, I think that they're going to be, it's a challenging district for them. And it's going to be, we'll see what happens.
I think that a lot of the teams, especially with Northside, with the teams to 20, because like I said, Brandeis is a Northside school, but there were 27. I think what's going to come down to is having a non-district schedule to kind of get you prepared for the kind of the grind, and also to see the level, see that speed that you're going to see in that first round and second round, and beyond in the playoffs. And like I said, I think this year is going to be kind of who ends up which division. I think the Division I spots are going to have kind of some of like your top heavy teams, like your Westlakes, your Lake Travis, your Vandergriffs. Round Rock's been one of the top teams, you know. So it's going to depend on that. But like I said, could we see a Northside from 28 make a deep run? Yeah, it's a possibility, because if you're, it takes sometimes also some luck. If the soccer gods on your side, it could happen. I mean, look at last year. Nobody expected Austin Westlake to get to the state final. We thought, because they were very young, we didn't think they were going to do, or maybe get eliminated probably round 2 or 3. But look what they did. So anything can happen. Like this, but I think they fully understand what the challenges are going to that first round game. But like I said, a lot of these kids are familiar with each other, because a lot of them do play together in club, or they play against each other in club. So they'll be able to handle it.
And I'm not one to toot the horn of Austin schools here and there, like Harry, but those like those Round Rock teams, they've been producing a lot of girls that I just finished watching the College Cup and such, and I watched a lot of SEC soccer throughout the season, and they've got some players that are coming out of Round Rock and going to some of these top-notch Mississippi State kind of schools. So they're putting out some high caliber talent in that Round Rock North Austin area. So it's Region 4 is right up there with the Dallas and Houston regions as well, as far as putting out some good talent. So it's not an easy task to get to a regional final and such within for Region 4, really for any region. But this is one of those regions where it's challenging to get out of the early rounds. Yeah.
Moving to 29, Buda Johnson, Steele, Canyon, Judson, East Central, San Marcos, and the Clemens girls.
This is gonna be an interesting district. You got 2 newcomers with Buda Johnson and Canyon. I'm familiar with Buda Johnson because we did interview their coach last year. Yeah. And they made that playoffs in that District 26 6A against Austin Westlake, Lake Travis, a really good Austin Anderson team. So they're probably going to be one of the favorites to win the district title. Another one's the Canyon Cougars. You saw all the damage they did in 26-5A. Playing against their battle tested. They played teams like Bernie Champion, Piper, Swinson Valley. So they're going to be up to a challenge. That probably that games, the series of games between them, I think it's going to come down to who wins the district title. But then you have also your other perennial powers like Steele, Clemens. The surprise last year was Judson. Judson got that third spot. Can they build upon that and maybe challenge for the district title, or remain into the playoff system? And then we'll see. And like I said, we'll see if San Marcos can contend, and same thing with the Central into the district. But it's going to be a little tricky district. It'll be a fun one. But I think here, like I said, your two favorites are probably going to be Johnson, and Canyon.
And then the final. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, no, just like Rafa said, the two newcomers that are coming in. Yes, they lost New Braunfels, Unicorns, but the two newcomers that came in with Buda Johnson and New Braunfels Canyon. It's going to be tough for Judson to get back into the playoffs this year, especially with those two new teams that are coming into this district. But this should be another fun one to keep an eye on.
I can see, going back to that, I want to be surprised if the Canyon Cougars make a deep run in Division II. Since now they're going to, like you mentioned, Harry, they're going to play the Laredo teams first in the first round, and then the Valley teams. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they get deep into the regional, to the regional semifinal, and maybe even get to the regional final. I think they have the team to do it, especially in Division II for 6A.
Yeah, because they're kind of sitting where the North Side district was last year. So they hit the RGV side and Laredo side as far as by district and area playoffs.
So moving to the last one, District 30, Medina Valley, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, Laredo Alexander, Laredo Johnson, Laredo United South. Last year, according to the standings, United, Del Rio, United South, and then Eagle Pass, got the final spot into the playoffs. So memory serves me right, Medina Valley was pretty good on the girls' side as well.
They were co-district champs with Southwest.
So
they kind of ended the dynasty a little bit there. Because they had the monopoly, like I said, for the girls' side, they had the monopoly until Medina Valley finally beat them, and they ended up sharing the district title. I can honestly say Medina Valley is probably going to be your favorite on this.
And they're going D2. We know that for a fact.
Yeah, so they're going D2. It'd be interesting, like I said, that'll be a great game between them and Canyon if they meet in the first round. But Medina Valley, I think they have the talent. What they did last year, they can build upon that. If they didn't lose much as far as with the returning, like I said, you saw the result there when they played with Harlan. They had a 1-1 tie, so you can tell there's some good signs on there. I think they'll be able to win this district. I know it's been dominated lately, but by United. So I think United probably be in there in the mix. I think we United South, Del Rio. I think the Del Rio goes. Like I said, they usually had some good teams there, and that usually contend in the district play. The surprise last year was Eagle Pass. Usually Eagle Pass finishes. For the girls' side, usually they finish last in the district, and they're able to get it together. And we'll see what they can do again this year. I mean, I'm sure they're not going to be taken lightly here in 2025.
So that sums up for the 6A preview for it here, and we kind of talked a little bit of the playoffs.
And real quick, is Del Rio their ladies' mascot? Is it the Rams or is it the Queens?
The Queens.
Queens.
Yeah, because the Del Rio is it's called the Queen City, so that's how they got the mascot.
Just an edit.
There's like several Queen cities. Oh, I have it. The Rams. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Couldn't have said something earlier, man.
We know what you meant.
Yeah.
I know we're already hour and a half in. For I guess Sunday, we're still going to try to do the best 11. for San Antonio FC, although there is schedule talk as well that came out, surprisingly. You had MLS, USL Championship, USL League One, and even NISA came out with their schedule today. NISA, for those that don't know, is rumored not to have got sanctioned by U.S. Soccer for the upcoming year. So they will not be playing D3 most likely. But today, everybody got their soccer schedules for 2025. Plan your road trips. Obviously, for high school, please release the schedules. It would be nice to be able to kind of set up a game plan of, hey, where to go. Just hint, come on, Northeast, Northwest, soccer tournaments.
Especially the showcases.
And UIL, I know we say this every year. It'd be kind of nice if you had a league place where you could go and find schedules or of tournaments to where you could go in and through that, whether it's got soccer or, something like that the clubs use. There's got to be a better way to do things here. But final thoughts for you, Steve, and then Rafa, we'll let you close out the show.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. I look forward to being on the roundtable a little bit more this season, and definitely look forward to being out there and supporting San Antonio soccer across the city. So if you see me out there at different matches, feel free to come by and say hi, introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about your son or daughter or team or any of that. We love chit-chatting with the supporters, the group and all of that. But yeah, no, just real excited. I haven't been to any of the scrimmages yet, just a lot of stuff going on with busy with work and of course the holidays and such. So but yeah, just been busy with all of that, but I appreciate Rafa going out there and keeping us posted on our little group thread chat. So but yeah, no, if y'all can, feel free to go out there and support soccer, whether you're a parent or a neighbor or family. Go out there and support the local community as far as getting out there and those kids are out there laying it out on the line, but yeah, no, I'd look forward to come January or so. Maybe I could try to squeeze one in late December, but try to, go out there and catch some matches for sure. In January, I'll be out there watching some games. So, but yeah, and hope everyone has a safe and happy holiday season as well. So thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you.
So my final thought, like I said, I'm looking forward for the upcoming season. I'm sure me and Steve are going to be probably broadcasting some games, so you'll catch us out there. So we haven't decided which games yet. We'll probably we'll talk about more, discuss it, but we usually have fun just live streaming those games, put our input. We've seen some wild games. I know last year we saw quite a few of them.
Yeah, we have.
So it should be fun. And then, like I said, a final thought also, like I said, be safe during the holiday season. Like I said, Merry Christmas. Make sure you're safe with your families and so forth. And especially with the players, make the right choices out there. Like I said, your season's about to start. Take care of your bodies. Watch what you do. Watch your surroundings. And like I said, hopefully I'll be at I think tomorrow night I'll be at a scrimmage. I'm not disclosing it yet, but you'll see me at 1. I'll be around, and like I said, showing some live video. Maybe I won't live stream it, but I'll probably have some video clips of it, and hopefully I'll get a couple of interviews with some players and some coaches off that, and then look forward to the beginning of January. It's going to rock and roll, and also get some of those those RPIs, the power rankings, the true power rankings.
You're already being asked for it.
Oh yeah, it's in demand.
Yeah, it's been in demand. Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, I'm gonna tell you this: if you any indication from the 50-50 podcast power rankings, from what I had to do on those for the girls, this is gonna be a tough one too. It's gonna be tough. So we get some good quality. Here's the thing: is here in San Antonio, we have some good quality teams. And we wish them best, and we want to get that Austin Monkey offer back, and we want to knock them off the playoffs and we want to get a state champion this year. I think, and now that how the playoffs are set up, we don't have to play Region 1, Region 2 until the final. I think our boys and girls can maybe do some damage and hopefully represent San Antonio and bring some championships back. So
yeah,
we look forward to seeing this season.
Yeah, there's 12 champions now. So
and for me, like I said here, be kind to the referees. If you can volunteer, and I hate saying volunteer because I know you can get paid for it, but if you can have the ability to sign up, become a referee. But from players, coaching staff, fans, please be nice to the referees. Like I said here, it's they try their best. They'll make great calls, and they'll make some calls that you're like, how did you miss that? But just know that they are doing their best, especially if it's younger referees for that here. That's one of the biggest things that I've heard is that younger referees go out there, they try it, but they get discouraged because of people on the sidelines not being nice. We'll just leave it at that for that here, and which discourages them from continuing and possibly developing a career out of it. So I believe the referee from the D1 match this week here, according to Coach Kano, was from San Antonio. So you never know where it can take you for that here.
It was actually me, but
oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, so Mike Laverne was he used to play soccer here at Churchill High School, and so he was the head referee at the the College Cup for the NCAA Division I between Vermont, the champion, versus Marshall, which was an excellent match that I think y'all were while y'all were filming, streaming the 5A. The game was on, but yeah, no. So I mean, that goes to show you right there, the impact that San Antonio has across the nation as far as producing soccer minds and soccer referees and of course players. It always starts at a young age as far as kicking the ball around, and that could turn into, like Harry mentioned, a career. So but yeah, no, kudos to the head referee Mike Laverne from San Antonio for calling that match, and I've seen him calling a lot of other big matches as well. So very cool.
So what's life without goals? We're out of here. Thank you. Hope you. I don't know when we're going to do our next show. To be determined. With the holidays coming up, this may be the last one till
probably till January.
Till January. So
we'll
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's for that here. I'll try to see if I can talk him in the week after Christmas here. For that here, right before, because I need to get him on record as far as who he thinks is going to make the playoffs. So
we do need to do that. So we got to pick our picks like we did last year. Who makes the
so maybe we'll try to do that after the Christmas here for that here. But that's to be determined. But like I said, thank you to everybody that's tuned in. Thank you to Coach Vela with Harlan Hawks. Thank you to Coach Poor, and thank you to who was the other one? Coach Kano. Here.
What was that guy?
I'm like, hold on. I know we had somebody. Oh, it's him. I'm part of the JV team. We promoted him up here in the 50-50 pod. But hope everybody has a great holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If we don't see you till next year.
You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip. But be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize. But it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive.